Hey, what's up? You want to get some food? So, basically, we're going to get some food, and the problems escalate. They persist and escalate. So if we're talking about psychological things, obviously, it's going to be different for different people. So, the thumbnail is what my vehicle's computer is doing instead of turning off the Wi-Fi. So I don't have the Wi-Fi connected to anything. I simply turned it on to turn it back off. And it is now stuck on. And that thumbnail is what you see, what happens when I try to turn it off. And that is the scam. The scam was to get me to do that. To cause all these problems to get me to do that. So now it is left on. And the thumbnail is the result of what happens when I try to simply turn it off. It just does that. So this is very dangerous. Again, the person is very obviously trying to get to first responders. And so, again, I don't need to say anything else other than that. That much is very clear to me, that they're trying to weaponize this to get to first responders. So, there's the fact that it only escalates, and again, times when you guys can't see it or hear it. Now, they'll probably try to make a liar out of me now that I'm going to say this. As you guys see, that's typically what they do. If I don't say anything, it happens. If I do say something, it doesn't happen, and quite frankly, they try to make it look like the opposite. And you've all seen evidence of this. The moment I call something out, it suddenly changes. So before I started the stream, my car was freaking out, with all those noises, those warnings, all these things that aren't working and stuff like that I said that, literally just all these things that on, off, that should work. And then all while this is happening, that happens, where I simply try to block this person from what they're doing, and then you see the result is that there's a fail-safe for that, where, you know, if I try to do that, it just leaves it there. And that's where you see it's just stuck like that. Physically can't turn it off. So that's the point. And that's what they're doing. Again, all these sounds were going off until we had the stream going. You know what I mean? Until I was at a stop, and I was stopped somewhere, and then we had the stream going, and then suddenly, you know, just after that, and then again, like, the lights are still on and stuff like that, like the problems didn't stop. Like, they still left the problem on. But all those sounds are suddenly not going off like crazy, so that way you guys can't hear how often it happens. And truthfully, like, we're talking about the sounds being, like, incredibly, like, just, like, literally nonstop. Where it's like a troll, you know? Like, exactly like this other person who's been stalking me and doing all these things. Exactly like that. So, again, that proceeded to happen until we had the stream started. Again, it even was making noises on that countdown. And then as soon as the stream was started, it was like complete silence. It's not flashing any warnings. Like, you hear it. You hear it right away. So I think that's interesting, and again, like I said, it's probably, you know, like not to say that the problems don't exist, but, like, again, they're not real problems. They're being caused by somebody remotely, and it's making, you know, like, the point is it you know, they want to know, does it affect how the car runs and stuff like that. These are the things that they want to know. Instantaneously, as I said this, 2 concurrents were back in the stream as I said this. And that number coincides with everything we see that causes problems for me. You know, that exact number. We know that there's 2 people working together on this. I've already told you their usernames that they were using until they had to go into hiding, until I told you what they were. And then, you know, the whole point is that they were in my chat, and they were... I just think it's funny how... So I've been picking up on the fact that to geo-coordinate and pinpoint other people. Like, you think there's some danger in me, like, saying this? You are literally fucking stupid if you think that. The danger is not saying it. The point is that this person is able to do this, regardless of whether it's just happening to me or not. With hand to withstand with what was happening, and they're causing a problem. I'm going to document that. Yeah, it's being documented. Documenting all this. So, again, it doesn't matter. like you actually are pretty dumb if you think that it makes any difference whether I say this or not. It does not matter. Okay? Again, they're trying to geo-coordinate with my device and figure out where police cruisers are and police stations and stuff like that. And again, it literally does not matter. What matters is if you don't hear it, because the point is, if it's happening to me, it's happening to other people's devices in silent who are unaware. Yeah, they don't know about stuff like this. So that's what you got to worry about, is the fact that, you know, you really have some real evidence here. Somebody screwing around with the stream based on what I'm talking about. You know, that's serious. It's very serious. You know what? I'm gonna go here. So that, by the way, that please wait thing is still up. Just in case you're curious, is it still there? Yes. I haven't touched it. It's still there. It hasn't actually done anything. The little message that says please wait for it to turn it off, it hasn't actually done anything. It's sitting there just saying please wait. So again, now it's stuck on. And that's a security risk. That's a pretty massive security risk, actually. And it just says, please wait when you try to turn it off. That's the point. And doesn't ever actually do it. Just wow. Can I get only ketchup on the sandwich?
Okay. Is there anything else I can get for you?
That's everything.
1144, second window.
I turned the mic back on because initially she was like, hello? I get you. It was like super attitude. That's why I did that. All right.
Hello?
Hi.
There you go. I'll have your food right up.
Thanks. It's a bad Coke again.
Have a good one.
Thanks. So, the lady that took my order is leaned over a counter right now texting. And the guy that handed me my food went back to standing where he was standing and doing nothing. The other employee in the kitchen appears to be standing in the kitchen, sort of just kind of standing idle. I don't see really anybody doing anything. So, it was a bother to them that I ordered some food. And the Coke is watered down again. I can tell just by looking at it. Some food here. We got some food. Okay, so are we... Okay, look. If we're trying to warn me about somebody while I appreciate it, I don't know the ins and the outs of whatever this situation is. And so while I appreciate this, we can't be doxing people in my chat. So like saying somebody's name and then saying like their town and state, like let's not do that. But you're saying, so like we're saying that like somebody is like talking about me apparently. Food. Fries. So, who is this person? We're just going to come in here and say this, and nobody's going to say anything once I start acknowledging it. Who is this person? How do you guys know him? And more importantly, what do I care? You guys from a state halfway across the country? Okay. So, kitchen employee gets an A+. Burger's hot and fresh. Fries are not made by a kitchen person usually. A lot of fast food places do this. The designated person, or there's somebody else doing a flex job, they can flex in. So fries aren't like terrible. They're not hot. Flavor's good. Salt's good. But they're sort of borderline. I think they were sitting there. And I would have waited for fries. But and the soda is bad. Like, it's bad. It's not as bad as last time, but it's bad. It doesn't even, like, you can tell. It doesn't look right. See how it's, like, all, like, light colored and stuff? It doesn't look like that. It's gonna be dark. It's cola. And again, this is like another separate set of employees that can't recognize this. Yeah, it tastes like shit. So, like, what are they doing that... No, you know what? This one wasn't the bag running out, because it's not soda water shit. It's like, yeah, this has too much ice in it. And you can tell, like, it's like 90% ice. So, when I turned the mic back on, the whole point was that she was just like, you know, sort of like, I take your order. You know, like, sort of like that. And then I was like, you know, I told her what my order was. She's like, okay. Like, with the sigh and everything. And I was like, And then I responded, you know, like you guys know, like, because I eventually turned it on, but it's almost like right when I turned it on, the tone slightly changed. So it didn't sound right as bad right when I turned it on, but initially she had a very monotone, negative tone. And like I said, got my food, she just leaned over the counter texting. No name tag. No visible name tag. The other employee that was, like, sort of standing there, he looked like he was fine. He just sort of kind of didn't know what to do. Like, he didn't have direction. No, I'm pretty sure I see an employee out here standing next to their car, smoking a cigarette. I'm pretty sure they just took the trash out. And then went to their car to smoke a cigarette. Interesting. You know, there's like a few things. Okay, I just did them right. They'd probably get a lot more business this time of night. They're probably wondering why the sales are down. Right? I mean, it's Friday night. It's not late. They should be busy. Yet they're not. And why has a car been sitting at this, I don't know, kind of looks like a business, but the business looks closed, like all the lights are off. But a car has been sitting across the street in this business lot with its lights on since I've been here. With its lights on. Not doing anything, just sitting there. Interesting. How much do you want to bet? How much do you want to bet? You already know. Yep, you already know what I'm getting at. Yes, this was an employee smoking a cigarette. I can now see their headset and their uniform. That is what this was. Now, maybe the person was on break and they just, threw the trash away to be nice. That's understandable. But I don't know. Seems like she's like going inside to take an order. Could have been the same person. Or somebody else. But I flat out saw them press a button on their headset, the light turned green, and the truck that was pulled up at the drive-thru pulled forward. So, pretty sure. So how much do you want to bet? Betcha. So, if a business is closed, just as the police would have the right to remove you. Like, you shouldn't be there. You shouldn't be in the lot. You don't have any business being there. They also cannot. They also are bound to those same laws and cannot just randomly be sitting in a closed business and conducting police activity and stuff like that. Can't do it. It's illegal. Physically can't do it. Betcha. Betcha. You know, that was a little bit of a precursor to some of this. Some of this was, I remember one day I saw one pretty close to here, actually, sitting in a business that I knew was closed. And all I said, I didn't even say where it was. All I said was, and after driving by and the camera seeing it, that's not my fault. You're in plain fucking sight. I'll go look at a damn traffic camera from the traffic lighter from the Sheetz parking lot that was across the street and know that you're in the wrong spot. Like, it doesn't matter. If you're in public view, I can record you doing your dumb shit. Okay? And so the point is, I drove past there and I'm like, I'm pretty sure they're closed. I'm pretty sure that cop was sitting there. Just sitting there in a marked car in uniform. What the hell's he doing? He wasn't like investigating outside of his car. He was sitting in his car. I was like, oh, okay. Last I checked, you can't do that. And yeah, and that is public. You can talk about that, you can record that, again, unless there's a perimeter and yada, 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 you get the picture. Yeah, they're very triggered, you know, it's the sort of thing where that's who's watching, you know, and then you see them shift out, it goes down to 0, that's who's watching, you know. I will move so you can get out. Please wait. I'm still please waiting. And keep in mind that my vehicle has not made those sounds. Not once. Oh, here we are on stream for you guys to hear it. Yeah, my soda tastes like shit, man. Yeah, that's a cop sitting. I can almost guarantee it. You know, that's not illegal, by the way. People try to say that's illegal. It's not illegal to tell somebody there's a cop sitting somewhere. It's completely legal to do that. You can legally do that as much as you fucking want to. Whoever the hell is telling you these things, do not listen. If you see a cop sitting on a street, literally like trying to use radar or whatever he's doing, you can legally Tell people at the store that you're visiting right now, hey, there's a cop sitting down the road using radar. Just thought I'd let you know. Don't go that way, or whatever. You can literally say that. It is perfectly legal. Just like Google, yeah, it's a cop sitting in a closed business. Wow. I'm gonna drive right past him. Sitting in a closed fucking business. Unbelievable. So, like, the point is, what the fuck? Are you kidding? Sitting in a closed business. Now, I mean, he's visible. His lights are on, so at least he's visible. He cannot sit in a closed business. It's not legal. Can't do it. You can do it when the business is open with permission. Can't sit in a closed business. You can't do it. A church is a gray area because a church is expected to be open at all hours of the day. It's not really 24 hours, but a lot of times the pastor is nearby, lives nearby. It's the sort of thing where if you have an emergency and you want to pray, you expect it to be able to do that. So it's a gray area. That's why. And that's why the cops around here think that, because they park in fucking churches. It's a gray area. You can't do it. You cannot park at a closed fucking business. You just keep this. Did you get permission? Did you ask the person? Not its. Yours. You're using it for your business, not the... Okay? It's illegal. I'm just saying. Wrong demographic. And ever since I've been saying this, they've been kind of maliciously shifting the bitrate around, trying to break up what I'm saying. Kind of amusing. I think it's amusing. After I say that it would cut up anything I'm saying. Like I said, if you got permission to sit there during operating hours, that's one thing, but if the business is closed, and again, like I said, unless you got permission, if you didn't, well, then he's trespassing. Now, I mean, again, if you got permission, that's one thing, but again, during normal operating hours, I'm just saying for your sake, like, flat out, like, that'll get you one of these days. Alright. Scenario. You didn't get permission. Let's run a scenario. You didn't get permission. Yeah, you're sitting on one of these lots, right? The business is closed. Somebody comes speeding on by you. And the point is, you're sitting there because you can pull out easily, right? You need to be able to pull out easily. Makes sense. I get it. I mean, I understand. But what you have to realize is that maybe there's something that you didn't consider. Maybe there's like some sort of other unforeseen thing, like, well, I don't know, there's like stones in their lot, a couple stones here and there, or just like something that happens. And let's say you pull out and your tire throws a stone, and then that stone ricochets and hits the window and damages the window of the business. Now, they have no idea what did this. Yeah, a most likely scenario, right? But the point is, you get it. The point is, you never know what's going to happen, and if something would happen on that property, on that closed business property where you're pulling out of conducting police activity, because again, you didn't clock him on public property, you clocked him on closed property. Okay, so there's a court thing, yada, 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 and then they look at where you were sitting, and yada, yada, yada. You get what I'm saying? Like, the law doesn't back you up if you're on private property. It doesn't. So you need to protect yourself. You need to be doing the right things. You can't... It's not something where I'm sitting here trying to control what you do. I'm trying to tell you because it protects you. I truly don't think you can do that. And in fact, the reason I know this is because I'm pretty sure it was even a Pennsylvania officer that got in trouble for doing something like that. And it, like, the whole point was that it turns out that what was happening was he was masquerading on this he was pulling over with women in the middle of the night and, like, taking them to this lot. Because that's what, like, nobody was there. It was, like, wasn't well lit. And then he'd pull them over and just tell them to, oh, well, just here, just pull around and pull back. Letting them get off with, essentially getting things from them. Anybody, like this is, like, gonna happen, and that's, like, always the scenario. I'm just saying that was something that happened, okay? And so, I'm just saying, like, of all the scenarios that somebody would use a defense against you, or something like that, I'm just saying, protect yourself. Like, that's just one thing that, unfortunately, a bad guy did, and now you have to bear that burden of making sure, like, I'm just saying, like, that's the internet for you. That's life, unfortunately, now. But, anyway, I'm still going on about this guy sitting in the line. Honestly, even, like I said, if he had permission, it was fine. I literally didn't give a shit. I'm just stating. Again, for the purpose of hopefully it gets you to just, like, look it up or maybe you look it up and maybe I'm wrong or something like that. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. I would love that. Because then, all right, fine, no harm, no foul then. But, like, that's the worst of it. Well, I mean, like, who cares? Like, by telling me just their real name and not telling me, like, a channel name or something like that. You're just telling me a name. them screwing around with it, making it do that. And it coincides with the stuff that we talked about earlier, where even Chris came in chat and mentioned how they were messing with European cars and stuff. And yeah, they are. But, like, you know, it doesn't just stop with that. You know, it's anything that they can get, you know, enough information about, really. So, no, that's the point. And a lot of this is Trump undoing regulations that would normally be in place for this. That's what a lot of this is. Where they can just freely attack citizens. And then some of it's Trump himself. Trying to learn how they're doing it and then do it himself. Isn't that messed up? The president that accepts a plane from Qatar. Yep, that's totally somebody that should be trusted. I'd like to point out that not a single sound the whole time. Not one. I remember what I said before the stream started, just non-stop. Just super aggressive with the warnings and this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. Interesting, even though, again, there's nothing really wrong. It's just somebody doing all of that remotely. On and off, on and off. This is more things than just like, you know, your basic wire being loose. You know, this is more than that sort of justification. There's been too many things that tell me that it's not. That's really not the correct answer, and I'm sure some, just like the people that investigate things, that just do the same. It's not a wonder. It's really not. I just think it's funny that in wow. How fascinating. So I think it's funny how when I said what I said just then, I think it's funny how the concurrence went from 0 to 6 instantly. When I was saying about how they wouldn't be able to figure it out. They would just do it like they always do, you know, they just sit there and, oh, loose wire. When I mentioned the loose wire, mentioned how it's not as simple as a loose wire, you know, something like that. It's too much to be something like that. Oh, suddenly, instantly, there's 6 concurrent. Instantly. Fascinating stuff. Fascinating stuff. Yeah, there's one thing for sure. Somebody is absolutely sitting here and trying to regularly remotely connect to this vehicle. Regularly. Because otherwise it wouldn't sit here just saying, please wait, endlessly failing to simply turn off Wi-Fi. Again, it's not even connected to anything. And it wasn't even turned on in the first place. I did that. So I could turn it on, but turning it off, please wait. No, that's literally this person. You don't need any more proof than that. It's the same fucking stupid bullshit this person has been doing. It's the same pattern. You don't need any more proof than it being the same pattern. This person is stupid. They just do the same pattern over and over. It's literally on-off patterns. That's all it is. Just like all this other stuff that's wrong. It's literally just shit that's turning off that shouldn't be. That's all it is. It's just shit turning off. And again, this Wi-Fi, that's what we're happening here, is like essentially it's just a function where they caused a problem where they, you know, if I would ever turn it on, it's locked in that position. So that's why it's doing that. They had done this like probably a long while ago and were simply trying to get me to do that. Probably trying to get the mechanic to do it, actually, so that they would turn it on to their Wi-Fi, which is unprotected, incredibly unsafe. And if they ever did that, well, yeah, that's a massive lawsuit, because they're the ones that are exposing me to that threat and that risk. And yeah, flat out, they're probably stupid with virus software and have no fucking clue what they're doing. They probably infect people's cars left and right, being stupid as shit. You do realize that the little things that they plug into your, to the computers and stuff, they just plug them into their phones now. You know that, right? It literally can go in your phone. You know that, right? Yeah, so like, that's the issue, is the issue that they started doing that crap. And mechanics are fucking stupid when it comes to electronics and technology. So that was what scammers didn't realize. That was what I told them a while back, accidentally, simply telling a story of something that happened to me in my life on stream a while back. And then through the course of all this happening, I was able to sort of deduce that I went and did say that story. So, you know, it is the sort of thing where they definitely learned that through my first-hand instruction that flat out, yeah, mechanics are fucking stupid when it comes to electronics. They don't fucking know. And I did tell them that story about how these mechanics literally couldn't figure something out. Some basic shit. Basic electronic shit. Something as basic as soldering something. They couldn't figure out. And I had to, and it was like multiple fucking mechanics couldn't figure it out. Like, it was more than just one sort of instance where it would be obvious to anybody that this is an issue with, you know, multiple mechanics, where like it's not just one mechanic that has this issue. It's multiple mechanics have this issue, and a lot, where they are absolutely not electrical. They are not. They are mechanical engineers. They have no fucking clue about electrical. You know, they don't even understand. You know, and that's like, that's what I proved to them, that basically they can screw with grounding and power stuff, and mechanics will have no fucking clue. And that's what's happening to all the cars. And the police are just going by what the mechanics are telling them and stuff like that because they're fucking stupid. They're not getting a scientist to actually look at the car and look at the pictures and go, that wasn't a fire from a blown compressor. Are you kidding me? A blown compressor doesn't ignite fuel and melt fucking battery lines. Are you stupid? It sounds like it. A compressor just blows. That's it. Where's the fire? What the fuck is wrong with you that you're that stupid? This isn't the movies. This isn't fucking like Point Break where a goddamn car falls off a cliff and it blows up. Things don't work that way, you retards. Cars don't just blow up. It doesn't happen. You know, and again, when they catch fire, again, we're talking about metal. Metal. Metal doesn't catch fire. Retards. Fuel catches fire. Electricity. Okay? So you're pretty fucking stupid when you're like, duh, air conditioner, duh. You sound pretty fucking stupid. You do. You sound literally so basic. You sound as basic as, you know, the retards that when you go to that same store where a car blew up a week later, that there is no cop to be found in that lot, and that lot has literally 5 or more illegal things going on. 5 or more. Because who knows how many things I didn't find that day. A week later. A week after a car blew up. And now all this is happening. And it's not the only vehicle either. No, it's been escalating. And then conveniently don't want you to see the security footage. Isn't that interesting? I would think that anybody that doesn't want you to see security footage is a guilty party. Why would police not want you to see security footage of your own car blowing up? What the fuck is that going to do, showing you that security footage? How is that not something that you are privy to? It is. It actually is. It's completely illegal for those police not to show you security footage. When the place where it happens releases the footage to the police, and the police have concluded their investigation, there is nothing that they've concluded, they're not investigating, yada, 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 it is 100% within your legal right to request that footage, and they cannot turn you down, they cannot say no. Otherwise, they're guilty. Otherwise, that's an investigation. That's a federal one. You're going to get investigated, motherfucker. And, we're going to get you on the phone admitting that you aren't going to let somebody see the footage. And you're actually trying to blame that on the business. You're trying to say that the business doesn't want anybody to see it. That's what this cop actually said. The chief of police actually said that. He actually tried to claim, he actually thinks I'm that fucking stupid. He's like, yeah, they don't, and then cut himself off and didn't even finish his own sentence. I'm thinking to myself, they don't what? Asshole. That isn't patrolling things a week later and I find 5 illegal fucking things in that lot. Do your job. But no, instead they're going to be triggered and they're going to be watching my streams and doing nothing. That's what they're going to do. They're going to get triggered and watch my streams and do things to harm me and my family, all while doing nothing about the crime they committed. While looking extremely guilty. Because again, denying the ability to give somebody the security footage. Well, that's not legal. Lawyer would agree. Lawyer does agree. That ain't legal. You can't do that. It's not your footage anymore. With public knowledge, you concluded no investigation. A car blew up in public. Well, the public has a right to know what the fuck happened. You can't just keep that to yourself. What about all the people that were next to it? What about all the other people that saw that car burning and saw no police around? Saw nobody there? What about all the people that stopped to talk to me to ask what the fuck happened and why the fuck the police weren't investigating when it was very obvious an attack had happened? It was very serious. No person that walked past that vehicle and saw that vehicle thought anything else. Nobody. It was obvious what had happened. Oh, yet, no footage. Oh, interesting. Kind of like Epstein, how, the FBI has the footage, but, they're going to release it after, running it through some video editing software. Yeah, it's not going to be missing anything, but then where they're going to release it, and then you're going to find out, yeah, this was edited with some fucking software. What the fuck? And these police are so fucking stupid. The FBI is so goddamn fucking stupid that they didn't know that you can find out if the fucking video was edited. Jesus fucking Christ, When are you going to realize that police are stupid and angry and triggered and emotional? I have every right to be. You, however, go to work every day with your backup and your bulletproof cages and your guns and your Kevlar and your fucking military. Every day you have that backing you. Every fucking day you get to feel invincible. Try doing it without that. Pussy! You all look like a bunch of fucking pussies, is what you look like. Because you wear your badge and your gun, and that's what you hide behind. You don't get on here and bravely go forward, telling people the truth, regardless of the threats. And the threat of violence toward my family, toward me, from police. No, that's right. That's right. Every day that you wake up, you have a badge and a gun that says you have immunity. Yeah, that's called being a pussy. That's called not working for anything. That's called getting a cookie without earning it. So you march your fucking fat ass into a goddamn car and sit there all day. Not doing anything. That's how fucking stupid the FBI is. The FBI are just police. They're contracted police. And this is how dumb they are. Dan Bongino, the fucking executive director of the FBI, literally stated that you're going to see the footage. It's not going to be doctored. You're going to see it. He actually stated that. He offered that information. He offered that it wouldn't be doctored. Oh, interesting. Interesting that you'd offer that. Douchebag. All while then releasing it, and it's doctored. The very thing you said it wouldn't be. All while being so fucking stupid, you didn't know that we could figure out that it was doctored. Idiot. These are the fucking retards that are running the FBI. And they fucked up. They leaked secrets. The terrorists are here. The war has happened. And they're trying to prevent the public from finding out. That's what's going on. Meanwhile, you're two all fucking stupid. And triggered. Listening to this dumb shit about somebody that was assassinated whose name you didn't fucking know before a fucking few days ago. You didn't fucking know who Charlie Kirk was. You didn't give a shit. Flags at half-mast. Wow. Wow. And again, instead of talking about the guy that I wanted to find out why the fuck we care so much, why he was so important, instead of talking about the great things that he did, because, you know, he supposedly did some great things, right? He was supposedly this great guy that we're supposed to miss, yada, yada, yada. Meanwhile, instead of talking about those great things that, again, I would like to hear in his memory, instead we hear a fucking bunch of retards standing up there going, see? This is all the hate from the other side, the radical left. And if there's one thing that you remember that. They're actually saying things like that. They don't want you to remember Charlie. You know, the guy, I don't even know anything about him, and that's the point. I wanted to. Would have been nice to hear that at the Remember Charlie thing. You know, the memorial thing. Oh, right. They spent the entire fucking time hating on Democrats. Gee, I wonder if they had the guy assassinated. Gee, I wonder. I don't know, maybe. Gee, maybe. Gee, I don't know, maybe. Oh, gee, you know, maybe it isn't all so simple as, you know, this kid just did it. Maybe the FBI is using the same psychological fucking tactics they were using way back with Malcolm X days, except now they got the internet and they got memes and they got fucking Facebook. So now they just sit there and they use Facebook to manipulate people. And X. It's really sad. It really is. It's really fucking sad. That so many people don't fucking get it. And the reality is you don't get it because too many stupid people are saying dumb shit in chat so fast, spamming it, shit like that. It has an effect on you. You think that's somehow like something that you should listen to just because it's so fast and it's so immediate and it's so... And it's like, are you kidding me? I mean, maybe sometimes that's true when people do that. But I mean, come on. Don't you get it? The whole fucking point is that when they get in there and they do that, all that matters is that you quickly saw that and your brain makes the connection because that just happened and you saw that so much. It's as simple as your brain making that connection. You know, I'll be honest with you. I've seen a lot of weird things. But never did I see so many weird things escalate all at once. Just all at once, simultaneously. All these weird things that would never happen all of a sudden just start happening on a regular basis as much as possible. Just everything's breaking. Nobody can even discern fact from fiction anymore. You can, but people just seem to be in denial. Don't want to really do it. It's crazy. And it's as simple as, like, for example, just because I go to Wendy's or something like that and state what some screw ups are and stuff like that, people think that just because all these other people and all these unreasonable, illogical, annoying fucking people shit on companies and immediately dismiss the company just because of one thing, like one bad experience or something like that. Well, that's not what I'm doing. And that's not what some people are doing. Some people are doing it just like I'm doing it, where they're giving them multiple chances. You're just not seeing that. You know, you see the one bad review. That's, of course, because that's what you saw. You didn't see all the other times it happened before that. But, again, by the time the media covers it, you don't know anything. You just know that a bunch of people are now boycotting this or whatever because it's something. To you, it sounds woke. But you don't know. Now, again, I don't agree with it wholeheartedly for the most part. Because for the most part, people can't acknowledge that it's a thing that happens a lot of the time, like with their area, like where they live or something like that. But sometimes that's not the case, obviously, and sometimes it is legitimate. And so, you know, like, obviously I'll back that up, but the whole point that somebody's just immediately, implicitly saying they hate something just by saying some sort of criticism about it, this is what everybody's doing. Like, this is the immediate declaration that people have, where they immediately want to be dismissive and stuff like that, where, because that's the point. That's what your content that's where the value is. So that's why they're discrediting it, because that's the value in your content. You have to understand that. Like, it's obviously that. Like, they see value in this, so therefore they're devaluing, they're trying to discredit and devalue that. That's the point. Whatever it is, you know. So, anyway, I hope I helped a few people. I think I did with what I said on the last stream about a couple of different things. I know that we're having issues. Some people don't know why they're... Yes, alright, YouTube is screwing around with you. And I've flat out told you that they screw around with you. I've said this on stream. I've said this for a long time. I've literally told you that they will sit there and they will censor you and mess with your views left and right if they think that you're using a pop-up blocker. They will fucking do it. And the reason we know this, remember, we were raging about this, we were freaking out about it, and then finally a random bot comes in my fucking chat one day and goes, "Are we not using a pop-up blocker?" Finally. Nobody's saying anything, finally that happens one day, and I'm like, wow. So I stated that I wasn't, and at the time, yeah, definitely not. Because it was the sort of thing where YouTube hadn't caused all these problems and fucked with me for various other reasons too. Because they have silent reasons they keep from you. But yeah, that's a big one. If they think you're using a pop-up blocker, they're going to start removing everything that you get from AdSense, because that's how AdSense works. It's through your ads. So if they think that you're using a thing that would block ads when you're using YouTube, they're going to do things silently to mess with your monetization for the AdSense account. And they shouldn't do this. They shouldn't. It's not really legal. But they do it. And I've stated that before. And that was what led me to believe that, was that little interaction. And it was pretty true. I did some tests and determined it was pretty accurate, pretty true, and plus research. You can find it in the cracks here and there. So yeah, and they will do that. That is one of the things. But it doesn't make it right, because again, you can have views and stuff, and you can monetize in your own way. They shouldn't lie about what views you're getting. And definitely should shift your bitrate around and mess with things. Like, that is like actively them lying about the algorithm, you know, like to your stream basically. It's really messed up. So, there's a whole lot of things that I have found out that will mess your streams up with monetization and stuff like that. And that's a big one. Something else that I have noticed is, just like I've pointed out that they break people's cameras. So if you're somebody that regularly has graphic t-shirts, brand names, whatever, sitting out in the open on your stream and stuff like that, YouTube will break your camera so that it flips it. It literally like reverses the image. And so like that's why they're doing that, because they don't want to be associated with the brand that you have sitting on your stream in the background or whatever. And I think it's really stupid. I obviously don't agree with that. But I'm just telling you why they do it. I've just noticed that, you know, like through the years of trying to deduce why they're doing this silently. Yeah. I've been able to figure out a lot of this, and it shouldn't be the case. Still shouldn't be the case, because again, it's just not communicating, and all while claiming to not have policies against certain things that they're just sort of psychologically hazing you to figure out. And if you don't figure it out, well, guess you're shit out of luck. No YouTube for you. And that's really messed up. You could also think somebody's stalking you, which happened for long enough that somebody did start doing that. So, you know, like it's really bad that they would ever do this as like a general practice, but they are. I mean, it's been happening. And so people that swear to, while there's no technical like policy per se, if you swear on end and stuff like that, they'll just start doing it. So there's a bunch of things. There's a real whole bunch of things that they just sort of do without saying. No message, no, this is why we're doing this. They just do it. And those are some of those things. And like I said, the if you have a thumbnail or if you have a video clip or something like that, where at some point in that stream something happens where there's a readable or viewable, brand name or logo, the correct way around, they sit there and they screw around with that stream. They will really mess around with that stream. They will really try to not let you monetize, and your views will be lower. And like, it's just a defensive stance they've been taking. They've just been doing it differently ever since everybody's suing everybody, basically. Ever since Trump's been doing what he's been doing, where he uses things that he shouldn't be using illegally, and now everybody is suing him because he has been doing that. That's why. Like, Trump uses people's music all the time without asking them. He's not doing it on YouTube, by the way. It's not like he's making a YouTube video. No, we're talking about how, like, when, like, he, like, makes, like, he just takes somebody's music and then, like, does a release for this video that he made or something, like, not even just on YouTube, but just, like, in general. Yeah, that is a problem, obviously, and, so that's a little bit different. And so, that obviously I agree with. Obviously that's a much different situation where the president is the president and should be ethical and should ask and should be respected, and I don't know, like, I just feel like too many people do not respect him and don't want him to don't like him and don't want him to, it's like obvious to see that. And so anyway, the point is, a lot of this is happening because of what Trump does. Because all these people are suing Trump now, and they're taking a defensive stance because they are a little worried, but yeah, it is very defensive. It's sort of the stance because that's what's happening to Trump, and they need to realize, well, that's Trump. Trump literally just does illegal shit. So that's what's been going on here, and I know if you're coming from other countries, it's the sort of thing where you may not like Trump already, so you may understand, sort of. You may get what I'm saying. You may not like Trump already, and you're from another country, so you get what I'm saying. You're especially a target, especially if you're from another country. And what I will say is that how much Trump sits here and can't take a loss, he's the biggest child in the room. So if you're a content creator, and let's say you're, I don't know, we'll just say, like, we'll just pick a country. We'll just say, I don't know, Canada. We'll just pick that one. We'll just totally random. Let's say you're from there. Well, we all know that he's causing problems for Canadians because Donald Trump's an asshole, and he just wants to literally cause a trade war and jack up the prices for you guys by imposing tariffs that are completely unreasonable and ridiculous. So, yeah, we know that your president over there doesn't like that, and has retaliatory tariffs. So since Trump ain't winning that, he looks a bit stupid, because he is. And so therefore, he's retaliating against their citizens. He's like actually sitting here trying to use illegal means. Just the same way he's doing it for me. It's easier for me to see because I have such low numbers. I can see when and where it's happening. It's so easy. And so it's just been easy for me to track, but with that, with the higher numbers, it's definitely harder. So anyway, the point is, yeah, he would definitely, like, for example, Canada, he would definitely screw with you guys. He would absolutely do that. You're one of the countries he would absolutely do that to. There's plenty of countries, by the way, that he would do that to, but Canada for sure. Because remember, he's all pissed off that you didn't let him rip you off. Just like, apparently Americans want him to rip us off. I don't get it either, but, I really wish we had Canada's president, very much, there's a lot like Obama, like they're very similar. So they have a pretty good base right now, pretty good solid foundation, and that's good. So that's why Trump feels threatened by that, because Trudeau is smart. That's why he feels threatened. Literate, he's smart. He's everything Trump isn't. Just like Obama was. Yeah. Of course, the biggest child in the room can't take that and be better. He's got to automatically just shove some people out of the way and stick his chin in the air. You get what I'm saying? So, that's the deal. And, just figured I'd throw that out there for anybody that's curious. Like you're in another country and you just really don't know what's going on. People are fleeing the cities here. Trump is trying to impoverish the cities. He is segregating people. He is taking people that are minorities by the busload and putting them in camps, just like Nazi Germany. He's literally doing that, and it's legal. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It's actually legal for them to be here. He is not deporting people. He's not, that's the point. He was, I think, initially doing that, but the whole point is those governments don't want him. The whole point is they are legally allowed to be here. So why the hell is he sending them back? They don't want that, And so, the whole point is they're just putting them in camps. I think sometimes they deport them. But either way, it's not legal. They're in sanctuary cities, which means, they went through the legal process to be, essentially scrutinized and looked at under microscope, basically. While in a sanctuary city, they have to be a model citizen and go through the process to get that right. And they do. And it's ridiculous. They pay their taxes and everything, and these people are just getting taken advantage of. And that's what he's doing. He's just tearing them off the street by the busload and shipping them out because he's racist. And his base is racist, so it makes him popular among the base. That's what they want. When we see these cops in Texas that pick this white guy up, and they're trying to deport this white guy, and then after they found out he's just a citizen, he's just a white guy that's a citizen, the one cop was still trying to deport him. Remember we talked about that, and that was when we got all these views, and they started shifting the bit rate to make sure everybody wouldn't find out that I was talking about it again, The whole point is that other cop that was talking with them wanted to deport this. He's like, let's support him anyway. That's what they were saying. He said that this one cop said that they wanted to deport him anyway, after finding out he was a legal citizen. He's a white dude. We're not even talking about the racism of it anymore. It's literally just a white guy. Now he's just picking people up that he thinks, fits that description of people that would disagree with Trump. Now that's all that's happening. Yeah, it's just a different type of profiling that police are doing. And I agree with profiling on a sort of a federal level where you're looking, you're investigating terrorists and stuff like that. You have to do that stuff. But profiling on a citizen level, where we're talking about like traffic stops and shit like that. Like, come on, man. You don't have even close to the amount of reasonable, probable cause to use profiling on somebody. Not even close. And you probably aren't certified to do it. So you shouldn't be doing it. And they want to think that they're like, FBI, and they want to think that they're going to get these positions because they profiled somebody. They're not going to get that. They're just going to look stupid because they're bad at it. Literally just picking up a white guy and trying to deport him. Ridiculous. So, that's what's going on in this country. And I know you guys, like, from other countries and stuff, you might not, like, realize, like, the seriousness of what's going on, but it's very serious. We are looking at, in the United States, Trump is the first president to have the power to essentially supersede the courts. And that's not ever something that's really happened. And so, like, if the Supreme Court's rule on something that they don't want Trump to do, he can just ignore it. That's what's been happening. That's the problem. The problem is the court can no longer rule on something and use military power or whatever against Trump if he would disobey. They can't do that anymore. Because he has this immunity now. Because he did that. So that was another illegal thing that he did way back when they wanted a certain Supreme Court justice pick. It was like, again, another first time in history. They've never really done this before. They just left the seat vacant for X amount of time, specifically so that they would pick their guy after Obama was no longer in office. Because he was at every right, while in office, to appoint the next Supreme Court justice. And he did. Person wasn't chosen, the seat was left vacant for X amount of time just so that they could have their pick. And yeah, they went with their pick, the one we knew they were going to go with, yada, yada, yada. You get the picture. So the whole point is that they've been doing this with that support. Now, I hope that Supreme Court justice and many other Supreme Court justices realizes the danger that we're in, that we face. And the message that I have to some of these other countries curious about what's going on is, especially if you neighbor us, pay attention. Seriously, I really encourage you to pay attention and watch what's going on, because it might actually start to affect you even more so than you think, because, he really, really is trying to very obviously undo democracy and doing things to censor free speech, and really anybody that has anything bad to say about him. And you guys know we can say whatever the fuck we want in this country. I mean, he somehow has all this power to influence the executives at ABC to sit here and pull Jimmy Kimmel's show of all things, like somebody that's highly rated, somebody we know that's highly rated. People are just making crap up. So, like, this is the point. It's all propaganda in this country. Everything that any fact is driven from gets propaganda thrown at it. So, yeah, you have to worry, is Trump going to concede? And if he concedes, will the American public be so fucking stupid to vote for Vance? Or anybody that would very obviously just reappoint power to Trump? for a third term, which would undo democracy. And that's what might happen, because then the whole point is this guy will just remain in office like Putin did in Russia, where he can just start doing whatever he wants now because he overrides the courts. And that's dangerous. You know, the whole point is that he is his own danger. He can never be wrong. He'll actually end up being his own danger. He'll, probably even before that happens, like if people catch wind of this, there'll be so much hate. Like that would cause hate. That would cause it to happen. Like that would just, there'd be a war. And some think that that's what he wants to happen, where he's so in love with himself, where he wants a civil war, because he wants to know that people are fighting like over him, essentially. That's so terrible. Wouldn't that be awful? I think it's simpler than that. I think it's more, he is backed into a corner, and he's using illegal means to blockade himself and try to last it out, try to ride it out as long as he can. That's it. I think this is literally that simple. Like, it's that basic. And again, if you're watching from other countries or even here, I just, just be aware. It's not legal. None of it's the truth. He's not telling the truth. He's just lying. Nothing. You really can't believe him. You really can't take him at his word. You can't. Nothing. You just can't. Nothing he says is true. Even the tariffs, he just says that, but then doesn't do it. I even said that he was going to do that, just like before, where it's a way for him to get away with insider trading, which is illegal. So basically the point is, he says the price of something's going to go up, well, because he's imposing a tariff. So the projection is that the price goes up and the stock goes down. That's the projection, right? So everybody, I guess, sells or whatever. They make whatever choices they're going to make in that time. And then what happens is this creates a bubble because he doesn't do it. He said he was going to do it, and then he postpones it or something like that. And it creates a bubble in the stock market where he lied, where a bunch of people thought he was going to do this, so the projection was where it was, and now, all of a sudden, it skyrockets because the projection was way lower because he said he was going to impose this tariff that he never actually imposed. Hence the taco thing. But, that's the point. Like, tariffs are not a good thing. He really shouldn't do that. So don't call him like a chicken for not doing that. Like, again, she really shouldn't do that. As funny as that was, the tariffs are a bad thing. Like, you shouldn't force people, and especially other countries. Like, they can't afford that. That's really messed up. The whole point is to take care of our neighbors and our friends, not rip them off. And we were already getting the better deal. Now Europe is probably going to try to rip us off. Like, that's the point. And they should. Why shouldn't they? We've been doing it. The whole point was that we had a deal set up so that we were the ones getting the better deal. Always. Pretty much always. Now, people sit here and bitch about gas prices. You realize how expensive gas is elsewhere? You really have no idea, do you? Speaking of gas prices, I know I've mentioned this before too, but Biden was the one that started drilling for oil here. We were always importing oil from Russia. Trump started doing that again. When Biden was drilling for oil here, Trump came into office and undid that and started importing oil again from Russia, which is completely contrary to those conservative values that all of you Republicans claim to to support, you should want our oil to be used. Doesn't make any sense for us to just be sitting on that. That literally makes no sense to me. You know, like especially these economic times where we could really capitalize on that. Capitalize on the smart things, not on the American people's pockets. Capitalize on the fact that we could be making money off exporting our own oil, or even at least just using some of it to get caught up on things so that we don't have to fork over the cost for importing oil. It's extremely high cost, extremely. And you just, we'll just go back to doing it. It's ridiculous. Extremely expensive. You know, it's what he does. This is why he costs us all this money. You know, imagine shutting down. It's kind of like this. Imagine you shut down a military base. Decommission it. You got to get everything out of there quickly. Make sure it's properly done, but quickly done and efficiently. Yada yada yada. You get the picture. You know, it's very official. It's military. You get the picture. And then you shut it down. You do all the work. And then 6 months later, year and a half later, you're told, hey, you remember that military base that I told you to close down, like, really quick? Yeah, we're going to go ahead and reopen that. And we want you to do it with less money than before. And we want you to do it in less time. It has to be, like, really quick. That's what Donald Trump does. That is a very good analogy for what Donald Trump does with your tax dollars. That is literally all he does. That. So that's a breakdown, a very basic analogy of what he's been doing since he's been in office. I mean, like, he did that the first time in office too. Like, that's the sort of just the sort of thing that he does. Oh, we don't need that thing. Yes, you do. No, we don't. Shut it down. And they shut it down. A year later, all these problems happen. Hey, you know, it'd be really great if we had a thing there. But you shut it down. No, I didn't. That's fake news. It's ridiculous. It's getting so fucking old. It's getting so fucking old. That's what the bitch does. He's a bitch. I think Kash Patel is, like, massively being taken advantage of. Like, I just... something's going on there. That is a really weird situation. I personally think somebody is, like, he's being used. Like, it's clear, it's kind of clear to me that Dan Bongino runs the FBI and that Kash Patel is a face. And, like, it's kind of obvious to me that he doesn't really like it. And it's really super obvious to me that when there's a bunch of stuff going on that's like kind of illegal, almost like even just certain people being in the Oval Office and like certain things happening, it's almost like the director of the FBI standing there recognizing just how many illegal things are actually going on and trying to ignore it, trying to look the other way, trying not to see these things. But he just does. And I've talked about the whole drugs thing before. He looks like he's on drugs. Yeah, I'll be honest with you though. I don't mean that in the sense like he's slipping in the bathroom and doing a line or anything like that. I don't mean it like that. I mean it like I think somebody's screwing with him. Like I think he doesn't know what's going on pretty regularly. I think somebody's slipping him something. And I really do think that he's like in a sort of haze sometimes. You just like see it. So again, like not the kind of drugs that he would be taking. There's no evidence of that. I don't see that at all. But I do see evidence of the haze of like something's wrong. Like it's the sort of thing where you see somebody is in trouble. Yeah, something's going on with him. He's in trouble. I don't know what. But like I said, I'm pretty sure Dan Bongino runs the FBI and not Kash Patel. And that's very serious, because it's supposed to be the other way around. So, probably differences of opinions, knowing that one of them might do illegal things versus the other. One might be more ethical than the other. So, this is what you have to realize. So yeah, I don't know, but it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Like I said, he just, he's obviously in a haze. Whenever you see him, he's just, like especially. Yeah, something's off. Something's wrong. They're not FBI eyes. Something's wrong. But yeah, it's obvious to me he's like being fed some sort of haze, some sort of toxin, some sort of, whether it be psychological, physical, more likely both in some sort of capacity, if it's actually happening. So, yeah, I just, I really don't think that things are as they seem. I think that he is going to take the fall for something that all those people are doing. Or he's, again, like I said, supposed to be there more as a distractionary method so that you don't realize just how bad Dan Bongino is and like the rest of the FBI and stuff like that. But if that's the case, you still would rationalize at a certain point that it would catch up to them, and then he would eventually then take the fall too. So it would still eventually end up falling on him either way. So just, again, I think he's being used in that sense where, I just don't. Again, you don't see him make a statement. You know, when he goes to make when they make this press release and stuff like that, they always have the police make the statement or Dan Bongino. It's never Kash Patel. Never. You know, like he's always talking in interviews. He does like interviews and stuff. But he doesn't talk FBI stuff. So, like, just something with that. That is not correct. That's, you know, him not actually running the FBI. Because otherwise he would. Otherwise he would want to do those press conferences. He would want to talk about what they're working on and stuff like that. Like he would want to, you know, like it would be the sort of thing where he wouldn't want anybody else. You know, like I would feel that, like almost anybody doing that position, that's how they'd feel. Like they wouldn't want somebody else sort of talking about the stuff that they're leading, and yeah, like it just wouldn't make any sense because, you know, it might not come out right, you know, like it just, that's the point, like it just, something about that's not correct, not okay, something's off. So yeah, I think he's being lied to. It's possible that he gets sent on like media tours where all they do is have him like endlessly doing all of these press conferences and media tours, so that way he's endlessly traveling around, so that way he doesn't actually know what's going on, and then behind the scenes they're just using all of the resources and lying to him about it, like doing a bunch of illegal things with the FBI behind his back while he's traveling around, and he just has no idea. And meanwhile, somebody at some point is going to find out about that, but yeah, like there's something with that. That's just a like spitball, like sort of idea, but you know, that's certainly a possibility. So I really think something's really off with that situation. And in all seriousness, as much as I can't stand that administration, you know, just as I would sit here and tell you, yeah, I don't want anything bad to happen to Trump. I definitely, you know, don't want anything bad to happen to anybody, you know, like it doesn't matter if they're Kash Patel or Trump or anybody. And that was the weird thing that, like, you know, like people just want to immediately, when Trump is like almost assassinated or something like that, they just want to like jump all over that and say, you know, like say mean things and stuff like that. And I just don't agree with that. I support, you know, their right to say it, but you have to realize that they don't mean it either. Like, you have to realize, like, a lot of times it's just a joke. But I choose to draw certain lines with that. And so while my opinion is that way, I don't think that should be everybody. You shouldn't force somebody to not say whatever they want. Like, that's free speech. That's their right. And saying, you know, like somebody like not, you know, like being like upset, like that it happened or something like that. Like that's not inciting violence or anything like that. It's just not having the reaction somebody thought that somebody would have. That's nothing. That's not what that is. So obviously like people just say these things because they're upset about everything he's done. So when that happens, it really isn't a thought about it. It's more just like suddenly they thought it was all over. That's really what it is. It's more like they suddenly thought it was all over. Finally it's all over. That's it. But then it wasn't. They weren't disappointed that he's alive or anything. It's more just it was all over for them. That's why. And so again, even with me, like I really can't stand it when somebody doesn't, like somebody like says that they wished something bad would happen or something to a politician. So I just I'll never understand that, because again, it's just another person. Like I fully believe like self-defense and all that type of thing. Like unless the person's actually attacking me like right in front of me, that sort of thing. Like it's the sort of thing where I don't really believe in that. And so that's just how I feel about that. People can feel however they want and say whatever they want, but I'm going to go ahead and choose to say how I feel. And I personally just, as much as I can't stand Trump, I don't agree with trying to assassinate anybody. That's wrong. And violence of any kind, like, I actually don't want him to die at all. Like, I hope he lives full life, like he lives out his life. And, he's kind of old now. He's pretty old. He's going to be older than Biden when he leaves office. I hope you know that. So, I mean, like, I don't want anything bad to, like, when people were talking about his health and stuff, I was actually concerned about it. Like, no, I don't want that by any means. I do get concerned about that at times. Yeah, I even thought to myself the same thing about Charlie Kirk when I had heard that he was shot at, but I hadn't found out that he was actually assassinated until later. So, the point is that I think that's generally how people feel. A lot of people just, it's a disappointing feeling when they think it's all over. This person that's been harming you and actually doing these terrible things for a long time, and you find out it's not. Like, that it's not that. It's just there was the disappointment of finding out that, well, it's not all over, That's all. They're not disappointed that he's alive or anything. And they might even try to sit here and say that they are and stuff like that, but they're not. They don't really mean that. They're just being stupid. It's the people, just like you saw with that situation with that kid. It was a regular situation where he's just surrounded by hate, and somebody is feeding him that hate and constantly fighting him on it. That is concerning. Yeah. Yep. But again, that's a one-off lunatic sort of situation where the dude had a bit of a problem. He was hateful, and it was being used. Somebody obviously manipulated that situation and escalated it. Just like all the stuff I've been talking about where, clearly they're pitting us against each other. Where I sat here and told you guys about, I tried to convince some of these other streamers that we networked with about that and stuff, and it was too late by the time they had realized it. Like they were too deep in it and fooled by it, and you know, it is what it is. But you know, it's the sort of thing where they're gonna pit you against people that they can see that you're having a good relationship with, especially when they know that that's a public relationship that has opposite sides of the political spectrum. And that was what you saw with me and this other content creator, where we were opposite sides of the political spectrum, but we were getting along in the public's view. And with that going on, they're always going to cause a problem. They can't let that happen, because that's Americans getting along with other Americans, and they have to have us fighting each other. So that's what you need to realize is actually going on. And so that's happening quite a bit, obviously, and you guys know that they use memes and they use all kinds of stuff to manipulate. We've talked about this before, but it's mainly through trying to convince you that somebody is doing something. Like if you've ever had somebody say something to you or something like that, I thought it was weird they mentioned it or something, and then all of a sudden this thing happened that's never really happened before, but now all of a sudden it's happening, and it conveniently happened after that person mentioned it. So now you're thinking that that person has something to do with this thing that's happening, but really what happened was somebody is monitoring your device. They heard that conversation too, and they realize that you're thinking about it because they're thinking about it. So they start doing that thing to learn your reaction, to learn if you will blame that person. It's pretty easy. You'd be surprised how many people either talk to themselves, text somebody everything they're thinking, or go on Facebook and tell all of Facebook everything they're thinking. You'd be surprised. Like, there's so many people that do this, and they just shouldn't. They shouldn't do it. And that's the problem. So with that, it was probably an issue where, you know, Facebook and other social media platforms were involved, where, you know, like it was obvious that there was a public sort of rivalry with this dad and son, where it was known that they had opposite views. I guarantee you there's some evidence of some public debating between the two of them. Guarantee it. Guarantee there's some evidence of some public debating between the two. So, you know, that's all they need to know what's going on. And they start... again, using their legal means, their tools to listen in and learn what you're talking about. And like I said, show you notifications, show you this, show you that, right at a specific time to get you angry, to get you this way, to that way. You know, it's all psychological. It's all... yeah, it's all with the internet now. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and probably get off here, guys. It's a shame that we are where we are. With this situation. And I think it's interesting that after asking all these people about what they're talking about, nobody said anything. Like this is a pretty common thing to happen, where people come in my chat to get some sort of like attention or something like that. They want to tell me about this thing, somebody's talking about me, but then they don't say anything. Yeah, it's almost like, they didn't get the reaction they thought they were gonna get, or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, we're probably just gonna get off here. I don't care what some person from Texas is saying about me. If I had some sort of crazy reaction to that, yeah, this is what I guess what they thought was gonna happen. I don't know, but I literally don't care what some person from Texas is. I literally just don't give a shit. Now the concerning thing is, like, you're in chat telling me that this person does things like with kids apparently, and you know about this, and you're saying this in my chat. So again, instead of coming in my chat, if you know somebody's in danger, why aren't you picking up the phone and calling like 911 immediately on this person? Like, what are you doing in my chat? Like, that's what I'm wondering. Like again, if you really think somebody's in danger and you really think this is happening, why the fuck are you in my chat talking about it? In my chat, typing that shit in my chat, taking the time to do this. But you're not proactively doing something to protect the person that's in danger. Yeah, okay, that sounds like you're concerned, totally, and it totally doesn't sound like you wanted to come in the chat being seen telling me about this. Totally. Like again, like that I appreciate it, but again, like, you look a certain way when you don't respond. I sit here for another hour and a half waiting for some type of answer. Nothing. And again, it's really weird that you would mention this thing about, like the kids and stuff like that. Apparently this person, like some kid is in danger or something like that. Again, you're talking about it in my chat instead of calling the cops. So, like, again, like that's lunacy. That's completely retarded. So again, I don't give a flying fuck what some kid in Texas or whoever is saying about me. I just don't fucking care. And you know that if some children are in danger, you need to call the police and stay the fuck out of my chat. Don't be typing that shit in my chat. Call the cops. Like, what the fuck? So anyway, just the stupidity is unreal. Anyway, gotta get out of here. Gotta get out of here. Gotta get going. Thanks for some of these. I see we had some normal chat. I appreciate that. I was probably driving when you guys were typing some of this normal stuff, so that's why I didn't answer. I literally didn't see it actually. I'm just not gonna be looking at that when I'm like driving and stuff. So I really didn't see that stuff until later, and then we were talking about other things. So I do appreciate though. Hello everyone, and I'll say hello to. We got Cross in here, Gustavo. What's up, dude? Yep, that's pretty much it. And then people were just talking about this person that, again, somebody came in my chat and mentioned him before, but I don't. This person lives in Texas, and I live halfway across the country from this person, so. So, no. To be honest with you, I don't know that I know a single person named Trent. I can't recall even ever. I'm trying to even remember a single time. I think I may have known one person ever, and that wasn't his last name. Yeah, it wasn't that. I just remembered what it was, and it wasn't that. So, yeah. So yeah, that's a big no, no effing clue. And again, like, I appreciate it, but like, again, just coming in here and saying that and I'm not saying anything else. Like, it's obvious that, like, you didn't really know me either. You just sort of kind of came in here and wanted to sort of say something. You didn't like what I was saying about maybe Trump or whatever, so therefore you just didn't say anything. Right? Something like that. So it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. That's a good way to describe it. It's pretty sad when, people will come in, claim to have your back, but then, just because of, again, like the thing I said earlier with people that can't fucking not hate an entire thing just because they find out that the CEO makes a lot of money or something like that, so they gotta boycott the company now, or something dumb like that. It's like, and then meanwhile these people are doing it. They don't like whatever I'm saying or whatever, something like that, so therefore they're not gonna answer now. whatever stupid bullshit reason they have for not giving clarification for whatever the fuck this is. Anyway, I figured I'd at least address chat since people decided to talk. So, my fault for not doing that sooner. Alright guys, gotta get going. It's time to get off here. Thank you so much. Thank you, appreciate it.